I think if I had my time as a poet again, which of course you do, it's the great thing, you do have it each time you turn up in front of the page, you have it all over again. But if I had my life as a poet again, I wouldn't speak so soon as I did. And I would speak a bit more often about political things. I would sing more political songs. I'm not saying at all that I would abandon the lyric poem, and just that I would write a little less about the world that is just me, and I will write more about the world that has to do with everyone. Now, I have done that at times, and this poem is a poem I wrote, it's part of a poem I wrote for television, for the BBC, at a time when the Troubles were very much live. And that poem for television was called Devices of Detachment. So this is from Devices of Detachment. There is a phrase that's used where I come from. If something is all right, it is dead on. That means the thing's unbroken, working well, and can be left to function as it will. And not being called upon, our hands are free to work remote controls on the TV, and we'll sit by it, doing nothing wrong, for everything's all right. It is dead on. For most of my life, there has been the view that Ulster is all right, despite a few crazed psychopaths, UD and IRA. The few times when a policeman's gone astray. These things have queered the course and soured the cream like slurry tipped into a mountain stream. But basically, the bad eggs left aside, this province is a boundless source of pride. And yes, I love the sea and I love the sky. And the scenery here puts heart into my eye. And the people here are friendly up to a point. We'd like to end the Troubles, but we can't, for we are detached as heaven is from hell, from trigger pulling, bomb exploding people. If they would only leave us all alone, we'd be a great wee place. We'd be dead on. Occasionally, I have raised my head from some exotic murder that's occurred and said, look at our Ulster, we're a mess. You'd sometimes think a bomb had hit the place. But since I was a youngster, all in all, we have been holding up extremely well. I was born in 1961, when things were quieter than they had been. An IRA campaign had petered out. They could arouse no interest in the fight. And at home, between the mountains and the sea, my father's shop was ticking over nicely. And people seemed to mix well in our town. It was a quiet time. The gloves were on. And the dramas that I heard of as I played, the stories that were told above my head were not, at first, of bigotry and blood. There was a coalman who had disappeared, without an indication or a word, his car abandoned on a harbour road. It was like something out of Hollywood. But when the movies really came to town, it was like nothing we had ever seen. And the decent people I was reared among deplored, of course, the Troubles carry on, and spent the early evening sitting near the television news as if that were a kind of posting or a source of heat. We seemed to draw some comfort from the thought that if the fighting men were on the screen, it somehow closed around them like a tin. If rioting and death were on the news, well, sure, it kept them off the streets and avenues. But sitting still, as we did, was a form of waiting for our turn to come. It came. And we are so weary now. We're like exhausted people home from work who want to eat, who want to drowse beside the television news. And we have watched For 30 years across the trays, upon our knees, repeated warnings we ignore, that the house is burning down next door. But it's not ours. So we can sit within our chairs and sleep on it. It's not ours, so we can sit within our chairs and sleep on it. Except that the space a person occupies is huge. And murdered people do not go away like bins collected on a Wednesday and emptied far away from us somewhere. What's nourished by our silences lives here, in graves, the cold rooms of forgotten things, in these, the warehouses of our sufferings. It is a tribute often paid to us that we have coped with everything that's come. But we have coped too well. The heart is numb. And other people's sorrow falls like rain upon a window or a second skin that has grown across the mouth and eyes and ears, and we have called resilience down the years. But what are we? No, what am I to do? Did I not try to march a mile with you? For what seems like a summer in my teens, we did not opt for nightmares over dreams. Peace marches gave us hope and let us sing. I felt we could walk through the troubles then. But after rallies we would stand and wait, like hungry people at a garden fete. We wanted peace upon a paper plate. We wanted someone else to dish it out. And I felt that peace could come here like a song that carried all before it. I was wrong. There's so much pain that can't be sung away, that goes untreated, that is even stored as if it were an heirloom or reward. We hold it in our hearts. We guard it well. For it is the hidden treasure of my people, the wealth of suffering that we have met. And it is time that we let go of it, which is much easier to say than do, for the dead and what they did are dear to you. But we will incubate within our graves the virus that has torn so many lives, if we don't lay our sense of hurt to rest, if we do not attend the living first. I have come to point the finger. I am rounding on my own, the cagey, decent people I would count myself among, who are like boats at bay, like eggs inside their shells, like torches without batteries. We are like covered wells. We are like rows of idle hands. We are like lost or mislaid plans. We are like tears that do not fall. We are no fucking use at all. And in the end, it all comes down to this, that the north of Ireland is a tiny place. And if someone's killed, and I don't care by who, the whole thing happens right in front of you. To step around it is a choice that's made. We take the scenic route among the dead. And I speak about these things to save my life. For I have slowly come to understand that just as surely as the sea takes land, the Ulster Troubles could absorb my death. And there are very few would pause for breath.